Thank you all for being here. Welcome to my summit presentation. My name is Fiona Gandy, and I am a journalism major emphasizing in writing and publishing here at Biola University. And today I will be talking about why I consider myself as more than just a journalist. So let's begin. So I'll be breaking this presentation down into three separate sections. First, I will be talking about my background and story. Second, I will be talking more about what a multifaceted journalist is, as well as what other sources are saying about this. And finally, third, I will be talking more about how all of this has applied to my college career, as well as future career plans. So growing up, I've always had this mindset. I just knew that I would focus on studying sciences during my whole high school career, end up majoring in either biology or nutrition dietetics in college, and then in the end, become either a pediatrician or a registered dietitian. But obviously none of that happened, but that is all because I've always loved reading and writing for as long as I could remember. But I just didn't know how I would feel about turning that love and passion into a career. I remember in school when I was supposed to be investing my time and attention in my biology and chemistry classes, a tiny part of my heart will just always love English class more. And so when college season started rolling in, I was ready to devote myself to majoring in human biology with a concentration in pre-med here at Biola. But again, I kept looking at the journalism department, specifically the writing and publishing concentration, which I am currently in right now. And the idea of studying writing just excited me. And I knew that I would definitely thrive more in that major compared to human biology. And so this led me to my journey of changing my major 7 times within a whole year. My freshman year here at Biola, I went between wanting to study human biology to psychology to business and to journalism. I basically had no direction of what I wanted to do with my life, but eventually I listened to the voice that has led me to choosing journalism, and here I am. So I've pulled up this definition of what a journalist is according to the dictionary, and I'm going to be reading it out to you. So a journalist is defined as a person who writes for newspapers, magazines, or news websites, or prepares news to be broadcast. Now, to be honest, I had a lot of trouble with this definition at first because although I did love writing specifically for magazines, I just knew that there was more to me than just this definition. To give you a bit of background, my mom studied dentistry in college and my dad petroleum engineering. And so when I told them that myself, their only daughter wanted to study journalism in college, they were just not happy about it at all. I was always expected to go into the field of science. And with journalism, all my parents could see myself becoming in the future was either a news anchor or a newspaper writer or an editor. And so I feel as though this definition just doesn't do us justice. It does not truly cover and match up to what I've been taught in the journalism classes that I've been taking here at Biola. And so like I mentioned, I think a lot of people just have this preconceived notion or idea that journalists are only confined to being reporters or news anchors. And it's almost like we're being put into specific boxes or molds. However, in my writing and publishing experience here at Biola, I've learned a variety of other skills, such as writing, editing, photography, videography, broadcasts, and even social media and SEO. And so I believe that these skills make journalists multifaceted and therefore capable of being more than what we are defined as. And so I decided to do a little bit of my own research into this train of thought that I had, and here's what I found. So in this article that I've pulled up from the American Press Institute entitled "Who is a Journalist Today? Where they work and what they do," the authors mentioned that one question they would ask people, regardless of where they were employed, is if they would describe the work they did as journalism. The results were that many do journalistic work in non-traditional places. a significant number of these people utilize the skill sets they studied in journalism in work that they do not describe as journalism. And so to put this all in numbers and statistics, 35% of more than 10,000 respondents describe what they did to be journalism, while 59% did not. And of those with journalism degrees, 42% considered the work that they currently did to be journalistic, while 51% did not. And so this solidified this theory that I had going on in my head that not all journalists end up working in necessarily journalist-specific roles or traditional journalism. Here's another article that I've pulled up that comes from a website called The Conversation and is entitled, "There are jobs in journalism, not traditional ones. And this article specifically talks about how journalism has become difficult to define nowadays. One of the reasons for this is the growth in new technologies as well as globalization of the media. It mentions that a journalism education now equips someone with a range of important and marketable skills. I've attached a quote from this article, which I will be reading to you. It says, "Traditional newsroom skills include thorough research and being able to explain often complex ideas in a clear, understandable way. But the new generation of journalists also needs to be proficient in use of social media, online publishing, and multimedia, as well as being able to write." And so I think that this quote says exactly what I am trying to convey to you in this talk. The truth is, journalism is changing and will continue to change. And more people are starting to realize that there is more to journalism than just writing, editing, or becoming a news anchor. So finally, how does this all apply to my college career as well as my future career plans? Well, during my 3 years here at Biola, I've exposed myself to a variety of different leadership roles as well as jobs in relation to journalism and media, of course. And I've realized that my foundation in studying journalism has actually helped me thrive more in these different roles. A few examples include my most recent internship at High-End Magazine back home in Jakarta, Indonesia, where I've been able to learn more about the magazine industry, an industry that I can see myself working in the future. Aside from that, writing specifically for magazines and working with editors, photographers, and digital media officers. And these were all skills that were taught specifically in my publication editing and management class. Another example is working for The Point magazine, which if you don't know is Biola's student-led magazine. And through this experience, I learned more about the process of interviewing and transcribing, writing for a magazine, as well as editing. And these were all skills that were taught to me in classes like writing across media, public affairs reporting, and publication editing and management. My last example is the current job that I have as a social media representative for Biola University admissions, a job that I've been enjoying very much and love very much, but isn't necessarily journalism specific. But I've been able to utilize skills that I have learned from my journalism classes for this specific job, such as writing, photography, and videography. It's really funny actually that whenever I tell people I work for social media, they give me a funny look and say, "Well, but don't you study journalism?" To which I say, "Yes, I do study journalism." But skills that I've been learning in my journalism classes have actually helped me thrive in this social media job. And so this just goes to show that the skills journalists are learning currently cater to a variety of different roles. To conclude, I just wanted to say that I used to feel so overwhelmed because I had all of these different skills, but didn't necessarily fit into a specific mold or box. You know, I knew people who were set on becoming a sports journalist or a newspaper editor, and I just liked so many different things and wanted to do things that weren't necessarily traditional journalism. But over time, I've realized that we are all more than just journalists. We are all more than what the dictionary defines us as. And so after graduating from Biola, there are a ton of possibilities that I am currently looking into. There is the possibility of going into graduate school or working for a lifestyle magazine as a writer or social media specialist, both roles that I have shown passion and interest in. And so I'd like to end this presentation and say that I am still in the process of discovering what truly fits me as a journalist. But I am so glad that this degree has given me so many skills instead of just one. And so that is the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for your time. I will now open the floor for any questions.